like to welcome everyone to the meeting, and thank you for coming. The council here approve of the agenda.
So moved. As amended.
As amended, yes, we have an addition. Yeah. And the addition, to clarify, that was pertaining to the highway dedication?
Yes.
Okay. And that'll be what item?
It'll be item 8F.
8F. There we are.
Okay.
Okay. As amended, we have a mover, Councillor Kraft, a seconder, please. Councillor Erickson. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Adoption of the minutes, item 3. First off, regular meeting of council for January 8th.
So moved.
Councillor Zeidel moving. Seconder, please. Councillor Stewart. Questions or comments pertaining to the minutes? All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carries. Item 3B, record of a public hearing held January 8th. Motion to receive.
So moved.
Okay, Councillor Kraft, seconder. Zeidel. Questions or comments pertaining to the record? All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carries. Item 4, we have a delegation. The Anhart Housing Society, and I believe we have a number of representatives representing the group. And if they can be so kind as to self-identify themselves. I have not met them all yet, so I look forward to that.
Well, I guess I'm the speaker on behalf of Anhart. I'm Crystal. I'm a local resident of Hope. And we have Mukhtar Latif and Gordon Weeb, Larissa Muir, Charles McLeod, and Lisa Giesbrecht are joining us today. So we wanted to give a little presentation to you. We have a PowerPoint coming, okay. I guess I can probably start without it. So we have been working in Vancouver for many years now. Our roots are in the downtown east side of Vancouver, where we were working with supportive housing for people at risk of homelessness. And over the years, we have grown and changed and adapted and learned. And now we're really trying to expand what we've done. We've learned the downtown east side. We know how that works. We know how to give really good services without the need of subsidies from governments. And we've really partnered with private investors who give benevolently to the organization to enable us to provide housing without subsidies, and sometimes with some capital investments from private sources. So we wanted to make a presentation. We have been actively searching over the last 6 months for properties. We started in Vancouver and we're spreading out. And it sort of made sense to us that we would look in Hope. Because I'm from Hope, and I know firsthand that we have a real need here in Hope. Not only for more housing, but for affordable housing. So a little background I've given it. I've really jumped through the background of Anhart, but we do, our motto is just to provide affordable housing. We're a registered charity in Canada. At the moment, we have a few facilities in Vancouver that we own and we operate, and right now we're looking to build and to expand. So our vision for the next 10 years is to build 2,000 affordable units. Either in the Lower Mainland, or we'll expand throughout Canada, because I'm pretty sure the need is everywhere. So really, we have two main people that we target, depending where we go. So in the downtown east side, we target people who are at risk to homelessness. We have many projects that we've taken people directly from streets and shelters into home, and I know that the Thunderbird project does a really great job here. We don't plan to do that in Home. I think that there's already something existing, there's a place for that, but we do see that there's a need for a continuum of housing. And we've seen, and I know City of Vancouver did an excellent continuum flow chart where they talk about, out of the streets, out of the shelters, and then they go into the supportive housing, the transitional housing, get people stable. And then on the far end of the spectrum, you have home ownership, you have market rentals, and then there's this middle where there's affordable rentals. And I can see, and it's clear everywhere, that that supply is dwindling. And people are tearing those down, they're burning down, and in their place, things are being put in place that are they're out of reach for people that don't have the means. So I think, in Hope, we would probably target to the need that is in Hope. And if there's feedback of needs that I haven't heard on the Facebook Hope bulletin board, you can let me know. From what I see, it's maybe a curse, I shouldn't say that. From what I see,
very discerning.
I see a lot of families that are struggling to find places. It's so discouraging to me when people post that they're looking to move here and then they've had to move somewhere else because there's nothing here. I know we have a lot of seniors here in Hope. My mom is at the hospital, Catherine Lee, and she always talks about seniors that they can't discharge because they don't have an accessible place to put them. So I know that there's a strong need for seniors, there's a strong need for the working poor that just can't afford to make ends meet, and the housing keeps getting farther and farther out of reach for these people. We do have different strategies that we can do. We have some that we have mixed rates for housing, so we can have some that would be as low as $425, and then up to, for the larger units, up to like 1,000. But we want to keep it affordable. So, I mean, this is probably, all these elements of affordable housing. We want to build community connections, so we wouldn't probably just come in and set up house and then let it run. We really want to connect with the community. Our whole organization is based around the connections that we make. It's how we can do it without subsidies, because we rely on building the relationships with the existing supports that are in a community. We build social enterprises. We want, if people have no jobs, we want to build social enterprises that can give employment to people that sometimes struggle to find employment. Partnerships, again, same thing as building community. We want financing through private sources, or we could go through, CMHC has some options for affordable housing. Zero-sum operating, we don't want to depend on subsidies. We want the project to be able to run for the life without depending on government subsidies. Scalability, we have a system that we've developed that works really well. We have a lot of online databases where we can store information, and we're at a point right now that we can very easily scale across Canada. So we have 15 years of experience in Vancouver, where we've helped up to 1,000 people annually. We have tenant wellness programs and housing stability, employment for tenants with barriers. We've had lots of capital donations and lots of partnerships in Vancouver with St. Paul's, City of Vancouver, and Downtown Community Court. So that's just a little bit about our history. These are some of our units that we've had in the past and we have now. We have a few new projects coming online in Vancouver. Some smaller ones, some larger ones. They're doing a lot of we've brought a lot into the 2080 and the downtown east side, where 20% of the new construction had to be purchased by a charity, and so we've bought into a few of those. But you can see we're growing, and we hope to expand even greater in these coming years. So our development advisory team is Mukhtar Latif, who's here right now. He's the former Chief Housing Officer of City of Vancouver. So he comes to us with lots and lots and lots of experience, and he was in the UK before that, where in Vancouver they consider you a big fry if you've got 1,000 units, while in the UK they've got 30,000 units. So they have a bit more maturity on us. But we're taking all of the advice and support that he can offer us, and we're gleaning from that. Dr. Bill McEwen is a longtime partner of ours. He's the former head of psychiatry at St. Paul, so he really helps us to make plans for people, to just, when we work in supportive, we need help with sometimes mental health, things like that. Jeremy Waldman is a developer that we work with in Vancouver, and Ralph Schmidt, he is the former senior vice president of Polygon Homes. So we have a really a good base of knowledge that is coming to us, and we're ready to get started. So you probably know all of this information, the rationale of why we think Hope needs affordable housing. I know that there's been homelessness counts in the Fraser Valley, and in the last year, everybody saw an increase, and I know Hope has seen an increase. You know, homelessness we know is a problem, and we know it only gets worse when you take out pieces of the housing continuum. So without the affordable rentals, then more and more people are being pushed into the existing stock of really entry housing, and then that's pushing other people onto the street. So we want to keep the continuum flowing. We want to offer, you know, not the market, we don't do market, we're not in it for the money, but we want to be able to offer people this flow. And so this is one thing that we thought we could help with here in Hope and in other cities and municipalities in BC. We've been looking at a property on Ryder Street. It currently has the funeral home on it, and it's been listed there. So we have an offer in right now, and we're doing some due diligence. I know that the current zoning on the property is probably not going to give us the density that we need. So that is why we're coming to you. We would need to work together with council to make it happen. We know 59% of Hope's renters live at a shelter to income ratio. So the need is here. I think that the need is here. The vacancy rate, I'm surprised it's 2.6, because from what I hear, nobody can find housing anywhere. So maybe there's some places that people aren't renting, I'm not sure. But we think that there is an opportunity for it here, there is a need for it here. So we want to work with the supportive partners in Hope. We want to develop a long-term relationship with the renters. We don't just put people in, we want to support them in whatever their needs are. We could do further developments in Hope too if there was a need for that. So our proposal for this project is that we want to achieve the maximum affordability for the renters there. We want to make it as low income as we possibly can. We want to work with the development, the planning committee, and we want to work in the bylaws. We don't want to do anything really extreme that would really ruffle feathers here. And we also want to provide 10% of units with wheelchair accessibility, because I know that that's a real big issue here too, that there's a lot of need for wheelchair accessible housing for people. So those are some of the things that we would like to work towards. We would like to build 40 units. So we would build 16 studios, averaging from 250 to 320 square feet, 15 one-bedroom apartments, 6 two-bedroom, and 3 three-bedrooms. The rents for the studios would probably range from $425 to $550. The one-bedrooms would be, I didn't bring my notes, probably not more than $650 at the highest range. We wouldn't likely go over $1,000 for even the 3 bedrooms. So we want to keep it affordable. We also, in our own team, try to raise additional funds. So the more money that we can raise towards the project, the more affordable we can make the units. But again, we don't want to come in and make promises that we then can't keep. Our goal is to make it as affordable as possible, to keep within the hills, which is the housing income limit set by the province for Hope. So that is our goal. The total gross area of the building would be 25,000 square feet. It would be 3-story. Would have a footprint of 7,500 square feet. So the property is around 40,000 square feet. The building would sit on 7,500 square feet of that. We would provide 40 to 50 surface parking stalls and 20 bike stalls. And then we'd have laundry room, communal lounge, office space, storage, and amenity. I've been reading over all the bylaws of Hope, so we would stick with everything that is required for that property. We have been working with 2 construction companies in BC that do, and I know modular housing right now is all the talk. We generally like to call it off-site construction because modular has more of a temporary feel to it, where these units, they're built almost to a higher standard of quality because they're built in a factory with, you know, lots of quality control. Then they come here, they put it together, it's way faster. You can put something together, you can shave a year off your build time, so you're ready to move people in a lot quicker. and you know, it reduces the neighborhood construction impact. It's actually stronger than stick frame construction. You can actually interestingly design them so that you can change the configurations after the fact. So if suddenly you need more larger units, it wouldn't necessarily be easy, but it's possible. You can change them, modify it to make it something different later. So we've been really impressed, and they've given us some brochures, and it came in past our cutoff for presenting things, but I'm happy to forward some of the brochures that they've sent to us with some. I know one of the builders has built 2 projects in Yale in this past, and so you know they're doing a lot now. I know City of Vancouver's ordering a lot, even Kamloops has just announced a lot. So I know that they're ramping up. We want to get our order in before before everybody else overtakes us. But this is just a really simple example of what it would look like. This is their most base design. I've seen some really beautiful designs where they have wooden beams and all kinds of stuff. I'd suggested if we wanted something more with a nature look to it, that we could ask for modifications and stuff. So that is, I hope I kept to 10 minutes because I wanted to leave room for questions. But that's our presentation that we wanted to give to you today.
Well, it sounds like a very interesting presentation. I'm sure council's going to have some questions and comments. If this is what it looks like, it kind of looks like Christmas is coming twice in the same year in Hope. So that would be certainly an interesting thing for our community. Now, I guess you have an interest in the property that is currently at 1270 Riders. So I guess you put an offer in subject to it being rezoned, I would assume? Yes, we have an offer in right now. We have some subject removals coming up. So we're doing due diligence right now, site surveys, geotech, environmental assessment, and in the end it will need the board approval. So we need to present our final package to them. If we didn't have, I think it's zoned for about 21 units, 24 units. I'm looking at you like.
Well, it's like, right now the closest sort of zoning that we have is based on 70 units per hectare. And so that's what the calculation is based on. But zoning wise, right now it's institutional. And so a rezoning is required.
Yeah. Councillor Dowdle, Councillor Erickson, Councillor Crowe.
Thank you. Thanks, Crystal. I sort of feel like I'm sitting in a conflict of interest position right here, but I know that you were doing a presentation. There's no ask at this point in time. So in the future, you know, I will step out of it, but I'm really glad to hear this presentation. And that's what I just really wanted to say, was that I'm interested in this presentation, of course, but from a different perspective. So certainly as this moves along, I won't be sitting here, you know, making any decisions with regards to this, as it does impact the client group that I work with. You know, and in a positive way potentially, because we do need to continue addressing it. Hope. Definitely.
Good point, Councillor Dowdle. Councillor Erickson.
Thank you, Crystal, for bringing this. Question I have is, I guess it'd be for Jazz, is the property large enough for 40 units and 40 cars?
Your worship, through you. So the calculation that we did was just to find out what's a nearby zone. You know, there's RM1 and RM2, and the density representation within those zones is 70 units per hectare. So we just did a crude calculation based on area. However, in this case, as we would move forward, we'd probably look to something more site-specific in the sense of a comprehensive development plan to sort of meet what's required or sort of tailor-made for this project.
Because I can see it's 3 stories, 7,500 square feet, but 3 stories, so you're going to have, you know, it's going to be, even though the building doesn't take up so much square footage, but the rest needs the square footage.
Correct.
For all the units, because it's 40 units. Quite a big project for a small piece of land.
Definitely, and that's probably another reason why this presentation is done for it, is to sort of get a feel for what council's appetite would be for this project. And if it is going to be something that's going to, it all depends what we're going to need variances on, or how we bring the zone forward.
Sure.
Crowe.
Hi, thank you for coming. Great presentation. You did a good job, even though you didn't read your notes. Anyhow, I have a few questions. I'm not really familiar with the Anhart Housing Society, but it sounds like you've got some fairly credible people on your team, so congratulations. Just looking to find out just a couple of questions. So, one thing, will there be pets allowed in the rentals?
Yes. I forgot I was gonna throw that in. I know that's a real big thing that I've seen, that anybody who has housing, you're either too old, you're too young, nobody takes pets. So we would definitely allow pets within reason. We don't want it to get out of control, but I think reasonable pet ownership is acceptable to us.
And then the other questions that I have are kind of a little bit different.
Sure.
So one thing, let's say this project moves forward and in its entirety, in a year, say, they're all full.
Mhm.
What's the trigger to kick off a new assessment for Hope that says, hey, we might need some more housing?
If you tell us we need some more housing, we will build more housing.
So who's we? So is it the community? Is it the council?
I think we would look to the council.
Okay.
I hear rumors from the community. I can't should get off the page, but I'm on it. Addiction. But certainly we really believe in working with the community.
Right.
So we only want to move forward with the blessing of council, and I know that there is even now potential for other locations. But we want to, I don't know what's too much right now. I sneakily put a post on the Facebook page and I asked how much people thought was needed, how much would be too much. I know that there's talk of the ski hill coming in. I know if that came in, there'd probably be an even bigger need, because there'll be probably a lot of people working there that will need some sort of affordable housing. So definitely we're open to expansion. And you know, it depends on having an available site, having a viable plan.
Okay, and then, sorry, I don't want to captivate you here, but I do have a couple more questions. The other one question would be, so as far as the neighborhood that you've chosen, is there any public consultation to see what the feel is in the community for having, I mean, I'm sure that everybody's going to be very happy about it, that's for sure. We need it, definitely. I'm really pleased about it. I'm just wondering about the neighbors in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of consultation are we looking at?
Well, we'd obviously, if there's to be a rezoning, there'd be a mandated consultation that we take place.
Right. But I'm just wondering from Anhart's previous experience, what?
Yeah, we've done a lot of community advisory committee in Vancouver.
Okay.
We've done some of the interesting Vancouver community consultations. So we are no stranger to that. We know everybody has a difference of opinion. It's hard to please everybody. But really what we believe in the end is just more information is always better, because rumors and fears always abound when people don't know what to expect. So we're very happy to talk with the community. We want a good relationship with the neighbors. Everywhere that we've been, I know we've done some projects together with the City of Vancouver that have been fairly contentious in the eyes of the neighborhood, putting transitional housing in neighborhoods right near schools and in communities that they did not want them. And the projects, they didn't affect the community in a negative way, in any way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So two more quick ones. One more is, what kind of role does the advisory group or the advisory board play in terms of maintaining a healthy atmosphere in the facility that you build?
Yeah, we would, in this sort of a facility, because we're not aiming to be really a high supportive facility, we would have a resident caretaker. We would use our system of reporting. We would have connected to a much larger team that would be continuously overseeing all the reports. So it wouldn't just be do your thing, live in this place. There would be a certain level of watch, but not heavily supported, just guided, I would
Okay,
say.
perfect. And then the last one, thank you for being patient with me, is, let's say the zoning is fine, everything goes through, so from shovel to finish, how long?
Yeah, Victoria, you're the best one to answer this one for me.
I think once we get the permissions to go, if we do go down the modular construction, you could be completed within the year, if not sooner.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Councillor Croft, Councillor Erickson.
Thank you again. I have one more question. Regarding the studio units,
Yes.
do they have washroom, showers
Yes,
included?
washroom, kitchens, they're all self-contained, designed for people that can live independently. So all self-contained units.
And Crystal, to put your mind at ease, I don't think council's in the business of pleasing everyone. I don't think there's any decision that we've ever made that's pleased everyone, but I think we sort of have a regular habit of respecting everyone, but we realize that any decision that we make is bound to, irritate the odd person, because it's an unfortunate part of leadership, so
Yeah.
that's just the way it is, unfortunately, in politics. It seems very exciting. I look forward to seeing if your offer is accepted and seeing if you go through the Development Services Community Development Department. And I know we have a good reputation for speedy and efficient help through Mr. Gill and company. So that is a good thing. Yes, Mr. Orlowski.
Your Worship, I have a question. Council can't clearly promise the outcome of a zoning rehearing, but it is possible that we could write a letter to you that council will certainly entertain the rezoning request. Because surely you're here with an ask of some sort.
I think that what we really need from our board is to know that there's willingness, that it's a possibility. I think the project could go through at a smaller scale, but it would be harder at a less economy of scale. I think we came here trying to get a feel for how and I know you can't promise anything, but we wanted to know about the openness of council and how this project might be received.
So is this a question asked, how do you like us so far? Is
How do you like that?
If it please your Worship, then perhaps council would resolve that we draft a letter indicating such to build more confidence into the process.
But I think the letter should be catered around the demonstrated need for affordable housing rather than we're mandated to entertain essentially we're mandated to entertain a rezoning application, but there's been, we can reference the IOCP because there's a demonstrated need for low-income housing or middle-income housing, at-risk housing in our community, and we can even attach a couple of documents that are pertinent for your board's perusal, because we definitely have an issue in Hope here in that area. So. Yes, Councilor Miller?
Yeah, thank you. First off, thanks for thinking of Hope. A lot of communities probably could use a project like this. It's been a long time since any purpose-built rental housing of any sort has taken place in Hope, let alone for affordable rental housing. So I guess my question is, what do you think is your biggest hurdle to getting this project underway? And is there anything council can do to help?
40 units. That's our biggest hurdle. I don't really foresee any other hurdles. I know there's a few factors that we might have to, add more storm drainage. But other than that, it seems like the utilities are set to go there. Really, we've already gotten some quotes in from the housing providers, and they're within our budgets, within our proposals. I really think the only thing, unless the environmental assessment comes back something really drastic, at the moment, that's the only thing that I could see that would stand in our way.
It's very positive.
So I guess tying into that good comment from Mr. Forlowski, maybe a motion.
I'm going to step out for a moment.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Oh, I guess you have a property. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, everybody's
Some of us will stay. So Councillor Dybel has indicated a potential conflict with her day-to-day employment here, perhaps, and then Councillor Erickson owns a property in the neighborhood, so. So we still have men and women standing, we're good. Councillor Stewart.
I'd be happy to entertain putting that motion forward, that we write a letter of support for affordable housing in our community.
Yeah, but not location specific, because that would put the cart before the horse for the
Sure.
rezoning process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a second.
Second.
Councillor Crop seconding. Discussion. All those in favor? Contrary. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. And your delegation had immediate credibility because Mr. Weed was there. And I remember probably 12, 15 years ago, you made a very good presentation about your work on the east side. I was quite moved by the content. And
Okay.
you obviously have a track record of being a blessing in people's lives. So
Thank
that
you.
that was really good. I remember your name. It's kind of a trademark in affordable housing in BC. So
Wow.
Thank you very much.
yeah. So
He's
that's,
my dad.
so therefore you have this.
The irony here is they all drove from Vancouver today and I drove down the road. We're all talking, so.
Yeah. But thank you all for coming, and I wasn't trying to put Mr. Weaver in an awkward spot here. I guess if you say something nice about someone impromptu, it's not awkward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Henry.
And what we'll do, maybe we'll take a couple-minute break here. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I'm assuming if you came in from Vancouver, you might want to hit the wagon for us sooner than later. So maybe just, you're welcome to stay, but I don't think it'll get more interesting.
Yeah, because she has more things.